Looking at photographs, and I'm a painter, and so one of the things that inspired me to do the show was that two things. In the last 6 months, well, the last 2 years, I have been perusing the city streets and trying to figure out how I was going to paint my figurative work and how I was going to draw the portraits of people that I knew. And so I started using the background of the city as the grit, the graffiti that I see on the wall, and specifically that particular the walkway there.
Right. Showed me on his iPhone.
Yeah, Gary and I both.
He showed me the picture you drew of that.
Yeah, and I have it on my wall.
That's awesome.
And so, and also, you know, the movie companies that came up here, and they have bought that, some of that area up, and they're using it for film noir. What inspired you to, like, what did you see that you wanted, you know? Like,
I've always, you know, I remember back just my whole life, I've always just see things, you know, like I drive to Portland once a year at least to go to Thanksgiving, and every trip I go by like Hermitage, Oregon or something. You just come out of Washington and hit Oregon, and there's this long, like acres and acres, thousands of acres of these poplar trees or something that they harvest, and there's millions of them. And I've just always wanted to take that picture, and it's just so I get these in my head where I'm like, I see something, and I used to always think I wanted to take that picture, but I never would. So I finally was like, actually stop the car, get out, take the picture. And that's what I did with that caboose. We were on our way to go see a friend in Portland when I was down there, and I drove by that, and I was like, ah! Yeah, it was, I don't know. I don't take 1,000 pictures like most photographers, you know, and then you pick the best one. I see something, I take it, and I move on. Like, you want a show? I'm like, I guess. Okay. I was on the at the beach, Cannon Beach in Oregon, and you know, I was crying a lot, missing Casey, talking to Casey, saying how much I missed her, and thinking to myself, I wish I had a piece of driftwood so I could write Casey's name in the sand. And there was nothing anywhere. It was at Haystack Rock. And so I walked about 20 yards down, and I turned around and come back, and that was written in the sand. So yeah, I mean, a lot of these are just walking around, you know, like that one I was driving on the street. That one, walking down an alley, there's a TV sitting on the alley.
Like, nobody really wants to throw it out, you know, like, save me, you know, like, don't let me go. Yeah, I know.
And that one, that's across from the New York Deli, or the Brooklyn Deli.
Yeah. Influences in your life in regards to poetry.
Poetry? Bukowski for poetry, Henry Rollins for spoken word, Jello Biafra for spoken word. How raw he is, not to mention being a full-blown drunk, but he's just raw and real and rude and crass and ugly, and I just like it. You know?
But he does have kind of a gentleness too about like having people not be afraid of people that are different and are, you know. What do you think is a word that he uses that sticks out in your mind that is one of your favorite words that he uses to describe something?
Nurse fuckers. It's my favorite.
Mine is whore. Goddamn whore.
Right, he likes using that. No, there's one particular poem it's called The Wood Drill, and it's about, he's got a lot of boils, you know, and had a lot of boils. And so when he was a kid, he'd have to go have them drained. And so he was telling this story about going to the hospital with all these people in their starched white uniforms, and the doctors are grabbing the nurses' asses, and they're all laughing, and they're all happy, and they're all sunshiny. And here I am, this ugly fuck with boils all over me, and come in with a big wood drill and suck out the pus from all my things, and he's just like all these asshole nurse fuckers walking around here. It was just the most amazing poem I've ever read. I've just nurse fuckers.
This idea about a lot of humanity. You know, I always thought he was like a down and out drunk who hung out in bars, and then when I actually heard what he had to say, I felt like he really addressed sort of the status quo of rich people who might be afraid of that house down the block that had the artist or the poet or the musician or the woman who's different, who thinks for herself.
The Tombstone. I've seen myself progress as far as my styling, I guess, or what I see and how I perceive it. Like I used to take a lot of photos of tombstones at graveyards, and I would frame them and everything and mat them, and I thought they were so great. And then I started doing more and more photography, and I'm like, wow, this kind of sucks. They're kind of boring. But that one I just really like because I like the black and white. The contrast is just so strong. I just really like it. Really
Yeah,
stuck
the
out to me.
texture on it too.
The symmetry, just everything. Yeah, walking down the street, I see a door and a window. Like, there's no address, or not, it's just a door and a hole in the wall. I'm like, wow. That's over by Jonathan's old place. So I guess that's outside, or not outside, but Ecola Sheets, like Ecola Park. And I was just driving around looking at those sites, and I had to stop in the middle of the street and get out of my car. It was so green.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me, you know, like the just little things that people do. Alright, well, I'm glad you came, and I'm glad you were doing the first show, and I look forward to doing more work with you.
Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah. You've already made a commission, so we're doing all right.
Okay. I'm glad that people are here to see your work too.
Me too.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Alright.
All right.